Hi guys, Jay Smith here, welcome to the AskGolfNut channel. So my viewers and subscribers will not be surprised to know that I still use MP20 blades. 4.5-year-old irons now, and yes, I am a head cover user because blades, chrome, I like things chrome and shiny. I don't like the dinks and I use head covers. Everyone turns off now. No, and I use those. So they look really quite nice, but I think it's time, and it has been for the last sort of 4 months or so. This is a video in making for the last 4 months. I've decided that I'm going to be changing golf clubs. Now, there are many choices. Now, I've done a video about a year ago or so now, pop up on there on the screen, that's doing quite well. It's about 95,000 views at the moment. It's basically saying how to choose your golf club. So we'll reference that one in how I am making my choice for 2024 going forward. There are many brands there, many offerings. So let's go sit down, let's go have a look at what offerings I chose, and then we'll narrow it down into the top 3 or 4. And there's a sneaky one in there that I don't think a lot of people will think about, and let's go see which irons I'm now using for 2024. So the chart that you can see on the screen now is the same chart that I used in that video where you can decide on what kind of golf clubs you need, because all golfers do different things, and some people need more height, some people need more speed, some people need more forgiveness. I play blades, and so the reason why I play blades is first and foremost, I like the look of them, I like the feel of them, because again, different golf clubs do different things. You can have one set of golf clubs which will be looking sort of fairly similar to another, but they feel massively different. So feel is very much so the sound it impacts. If it's a high pitch or a low pitch, a dead dull thud or a high pitch crack, everyone is different, everyone likes something different, and I like the softer sound from a blade. I don't need necessarily help with off-center hits. Generally speaking, my strikes when I'm practicing properly and I'm playing properly are generally pretty good, and so I don't need the help that you would gain from going to even a player's cavity or a player's distance and game improvement iron. Very much so, the bigger you go and the more technology you go in the face, then you'll get a little bit more help when you don't quite hit the middle. Additional help in launch, no, I don't need that, because again, I swing at a fairly fast speed. My 7-iron swing is around about sort of 92 or so miles an hour on average, so I produce enough speed to get that golf ball launching. And I don't need obviously an increased ball speed because I swing fairly quick. So player's blade and player's cavity, if I wanted to, is absolutely fine. I go down the blade routes because generally speaking the blades have got the weakest lofts and the smallest gaps between the lofts. So if I'm swinging 92, 93 miles an hour and the difference say between my 7-iron and my 6-iron is 13, 14 yards, then if you go to a more game improvement with a bigger loft gaps, etc., then that'll grow too much, and then that fact that obviously then I can't control the golf ball into the green, because every single shot will be sod's law, it will be an in-between shot, and then you're having to mess around quite a bit. So that's the reason why I'm choosing blades. So let's get to the choices about the different irons in question. And so if you have a look at the irons in question, I've tested, again, not all of these that I've done reviews on specifically, because again, not these I've had a lot of time spending on the review to do. But I have got the Titleist 620 MB, I've got the list in front of me, I've got the TaylorMade P7 MB, I've got the PXG 0317 ST. Now, again, some of these will go through in a sec, but some of these were dumped off straight away because of one reason or another. We'll have a little look at that one in a second. The Mizuno Pro 241, the Ping Blueprint T, the Callaway Apex MB, the Wilson Staff Blade, the Cobra MB, the Srixon Z Forge, and the something else of which I won't say, because that one made it in to the top 3. Titleist 620 MB. Looks great, feels great. Why didn't I use it? Well, it performs absolutely fine, it does. It's just that I've never used a Titleist iron, ever. Golfers are a bit weird. Humans are a bit weird. You'll get high handicap golfers that generically will quite easily chop and change between manufacturers. It doesn't really matter to them. And then generally speaking, as you go down on the handicaps to teaching pro and stuff like that, I'm a bit more picky about what I use, because I want to have a certain feel for something, a certain confidence around something. It's because I've never played a Titleist blade before. Instantly, I didn't have that connection to it. So even though it felt good, it looked good, it performed pretty well, again, it had to go, on the reason only the fact that I've got no experience with it whatsoever to draw upon when I'm on the golf course. The TaylorMade P7MB, really quite nice, didn't make the cut, being honest. Reason just purely because I don't like the back of it. It is a bit angled and stuff, and again, it's a blade, it is, but it's just me, and I like what I like and I don't like what I don't like, and it just didn't. It felt pretty okay, didn't feel the best of all of them, I must admit. Performed really well though, so in that sense. We'll go to the, when we get to the final four, we'll go to the data, because obviously at that point it got very, very picky about which ones I'm going to have to choose. Mizuno Pro 241, yes, obviously that is on the list. Why is it on the list? Because I've used Mizuno irons for decades, and so I have got an affiliation to using Mizuno irons because again I've used them for so long. Blueprint T, the Ping Blueprint T, didn't quite make the cut. It is satin, and I'm a chrome person generally speaking, so yeah. The Callaway Apex MB, great iron. I like what I like about the Callaway Apex range is it blends all the way through, doesn't really matter, because it's got that same looks of the matte finish, the satin matte finish, and that black badge at the back, and they blend throughout the set. Lovely. I don't like the black badge personally, so it just dumped off on that one alone. The Wilson Staff blade, yes, that did make it. Anyone saw my review on that one? I love the Wilson Staff blade. Very, very good. Cobra MB, yes, that also made it on the list. It was on the short list, so we'll go into that one as well. Srixon Z Forged, there was just certain parts of the look that I wasn't too much of a fan of. Looks okay, feels good, and performs pretty well also, but this is a looks thing again. We're talking blade, so yeah, that didn't make the. And there's one other one that did, and we won't go into it. So let's go have a look at how the shortlisted versions got on, show you how I did the performance side of things as well to make the decision in the end. Let's go see which one made it into my bag. Let's have a look at how they got on. If you look at the ball speed, 121, 121.4, 121.3. So if you were literally just going, but I mean, it's such a small amounts, it's daft. No different to the launch angles within half a degree of all of them. The interesting was the spin rate on the Staff blade was slightly high. Now, generally, I think from that point alone, I think the Staff blade's going to have to go because the spin rate can get slightly higher. I mean, it's not a massive amount, it's only 200 or so RPM higher than the other two. But what I do like about the fact that the 241 is the fact that the spin rate was actually the tightest of the lot. Spin is not there to stop the golf ball. Spin is there for consistency of flight, trajectory and distance. And so I'm looking at the spin rate to be as tight as I possibly can do, subject to me. But then if I'm having an off day, I'm having an off day with all of them. If I'm having a good day, I'm having a good day with all of them. Again, we're talking about my swing and my ability to strike, etc. But if you do this all on the same day and test them all on the same days, then at least you'll have a like-for-like result. And the result that you see here is fairly conducive to all the tests that I've done, the multiple tests that I've done in the last 4 months or so. And so you can see descent angles, peak height, carries within so much. I'm 1 extra yard, I'm not going to make any, I don't care about 1 extra yard whatsoever. All I care about is control. And for me, it's that total spin number, that consistency of spin. So what was the secret ingredient? What did I add in as a mystery guest? Well, it is this, the Sub 70 Tommy Armour III. Now, anyone who's seen my review of these irons are just gorgeous. They absolutely are. They are possibly one of the nicest feeling irons I have ever used. Absolutely. The metal that they make from is, I can't remember if it's 8620, I can't remember. No, DT4, it's DT4, remember that, just popped in my head. It is a wonderful metal that they use on these. Now, do I like the looks in certain aspects? That back is a busy back, especially for me that likes blades, and so it did make the list, but I'll be honest, it's there and we'll see how it works, etc. But there's certain parts that made it drop out straight. I had to add it in straight away from just the feel aspect. When I test them, it was just such a lovely golf club to use. The feeling of them is as nice as anything I have ever tested. That's why it's in there. So 123 miles an hour, so it has got a slight jump over ball speed. Why? Well, there's a slight difference in loft between them. This is the only thing. A Tommy Armour III 7 irons around about 32 degrees, where the rest of them are around about 34 degrees. So you'd expect a slight difference. A slight change in launch, 18.8, so it's not launching obviously as high. Spin is actually still up there. And so again, this is probably a reason also why I'm not going to use it, because it launched it to, not say too low, but it launches a bit lower, spins it up too much. I like to have a certain trajectory to my shots. Carry is obviously 174. It's the longest of the lot, which I'm not surprised by because it's got the least loft, and then obviously 37 yards in the air and the least descent angle whatsoever. I'm not going to worry about them so much because they're adequately high enough. If you again go to the club head data, you can see obviously I'm trying to keep everything as like for like as I possibly can do. Me being a human being, we have got 91.8, 92, 91.9 and a 92.4. The sub 70 is a quarter inch longer than the rest of them. There you go. 1.32, 1.32, 1.32 and 1.33 efficiency. The sub 70 is the most efficient out the lot, but then again has got the least loft that you can see, or we will come to in a sec. Tack angles are very, very close to within a degree. Club path also within not a lot whatsoever, and face is very similar also. And you've got the loft, 27.8, 27.9, 28.1, so all within 0.3 of a degree until you go to the TA third. Tommy Armour the third is 26.6, but then it is less lofted. That's the reason why. And then strike, as you can see there, is very, very close. And even if you wanted to argue, you could say actually the 241, I hit worst of the lots. 3 and 3, 3 and 4, 5 and 2, and 3 and 3 being the standard deviation on them. Right, so let's go get to the fun bit. Let's go to actually see the graphical representation of them when I hit them time after time after time. So we'll go for the Cobra MB first. Again, you can see that is the flight, and that's not going to make no difference to you whatsoever, but until you add in the staff blade. So you can see the staff blade there has a slightly bigger dispersion ring. It is not much. I'm looking at more dispersion rings front to back than I am left to right. Left to right is me, but again, if it's a pattern, I will add it in there. They go in basically the same height. You can see the red and the blue on the left hand side within a very small amount blur into each other, and then you add 241. 241, this is the exact same amount of shots. I discounted, I think, one on each data set on the basis of I took out the worst one. So obviously the good ones, but I tried to keep it as nice and as even as I possibly could do throughout the whole amount of these gap tests. I took out the worst one. So in 15 shots or so, everyone's allowed an outlier. And so whatever the worst one of each was, I removed it. To be fair to everyone, or to all of them, but you kind of get the idea. So the 241. That has gone obviously 1 yard longer, don't really care about that whatsoever, but you can see the flight difference. It is peaking up slightly higher and the descent angle is very, well, we are talking margins. The main thing I'm looking at is look at that dispersion ring. I am tightest with the 241. Let's add in the Cobra, the sub 70 Tommy Armour the third, and you can see there my dispersion ring grows a little bit more. To be fair, that's probably very similar size to maybe the Cobra MB, or yeah, possibly just between the Cobra MB and the Wilson blade. Now I'd expect the dispersion ring to be slightly bigger anyway, because obviously dealing with less loft, as soon as you start dealing with less loft, D-plane gets involved and dispersion will grow straight away. So what I mean by D-plane is a measure between face to path orientation and how much loft you deliver. And of course, as you start taking, if you have the same 5-degree deviation of your face to path and you take away loft, you're going to get a bigger tilt axis to the golf ball and you're going to get more curvature. That is a very quick hour's worth on Google that you've saved of your life by that very quick description of it. And if you have a look at the flight, you can see by the green, the Tommy Armour the third, it launches lower, obviously don't peak up as much and comes in slightly shallower, and it is just going a fraction further than the rest. So we are winning, but we're not winning a lot considering it is slightly less lofted. Now, again, this is just for me. And for the people that do launch the golf ball way too high and spin it way too little, then potentially the Tommy Armour 3rd is going to be wondrous, because obviously we are looking at a lower launch angle and it spins up as well. Again, they've all got characteristics within themselves. After a while, it got to a point of where if you look at the 241, the Staff Blade and the MB, they both feel basically exactly the same. There is not any difference between these 2-3 in feel. The winner technically for that actually goes to Tommy Armour 3rd, but that's discounted because of the looks. The looks of the Tommy Armour 3rd, very, very busy. When it comes to the other three, it's a hard one, because I think if I was to be able to be pushed for a winner, I would have to say it's the Wilson Staff because of the chrome. That's it. The 241, not chrome, but it's a bit more plain. And then when you go to the MB, it's just a little bit more busy with like a little satiny bit there and some angles. And it's, again, we are talking about golf clubs that I'm going to be using for however long going forward. So there's not a winner necessarily between the 241 and Cobra MB. The winner technically goes to the Staff. When it comes to performance, those dispersion rings, when you look at that alone, the 241 has to win. Remember, this has got nothing to do with the golf clubs. I am not saying that 241 is a better golf club than any of the 10 that I said there. It is just how I reacted to it. Why do I react better to a 241? Well, I played MP20s. Before that, MP57s and MP5s. I've used so many Mizuno golf clubs. I have a relationship with a Mizuno golf club, as in I've used it for so many years that I feel comfortable looking at a Mizuno iron. I do not like the fact that it's not chrome. And if this was chrome, it would win hands down. When I compare this directly to my MP20 blades, do they work basically exactly the same off of identical? Yes, they do. Absolutely. There's no difference between a 241 and an MP20 blade, I'll be honest. But when I test them and I look at the spin rate consistency difference between a 241 and my older MP20s, this is the reason why I am changing. I need to be as consistent as I possibly can do. Obviously, that's me as a human, as a golfer, as I'm swinging it. When it comes to the equipment also needs to do its job as well. And the MP20s, as time's going on, is just being a little bit less, shall we say, consistent in its spin profile, which is leading to a slight difference in consistency of distance control. And this is the biggest thing. I need to know that the equipment is doing its job. If I do something wrong, that's my fault. But if the equipment is doing something wrong and I've done my job, that is not acceptable from my point of view. My new irons for 2024 will absolutely be the Pro 241 irons. I have got the box, I have got the irons here already. I've got them 5 to pitch and wedge to match exactly what I have got in my MP20. They are dollar taper 120 stiffs. Again, I'm not shaft specific. I don't really care about, I'm fairly agnostic when it comes to shafts. But because I'm a creature of habit, I have got them in the dollar taper 120 stiffs. I have got them 1 degree up, not 2 degrees up, over the passage of time, especially dealing with media samples which aren't bent upright. I'm having to adjust a little bit for the fact that some media samples are more toe down, and the grips, I have got them in the Golf Pride Tour Velvet +4. They are standard, but they have got 2 wraps of tape underneath them rather just one, so it is just a slightly thicker feel throughout the entire grip. So there you go, that is my specs. That is the winner for which iron made it into the 2024 bag. Hope you liked the video. If you did, go on, thumbs up. YouTube likes, so do I. Down there also is a subscribe button. It's free. It is great for the channel if you could subscribe, so thank you. And next to that is a bell icon, that's a notification bell. If you click that bell, that will be a notification popping up on your screen the next time I upload another video. So I hope you're well. We'll see you again soon.